Welcome to the Shift podcast, where we have conversations with people that have made a shift in their life that's put them on the path they're on today. I'm Erin.
And I'm Dan, and we hope that these conversations will inspire you to take a shift in your life. Jason, welcome to the Shift pod.
Pleasure to be here, and thanks for having me.
I was telling Erin how we met, right? So me jump on the aeroplane, flying back from Sydney. I was down there for a trade show, and we got in the conversation. So I was saying to Erin that it's very rare that you walk on an aeroplane and someone goes, what's smelly balls?
It was a good question, though. What are smelly balls?
Well, it's a kind of an open-ended question.
Yeah. And that kind of opened up a conversation where then you and I end up exchanging some details and literally walking off the plane. I'll see you Wednesday.
No, that's all right. It was good.
So good.
It's great.
Yeah.
So always talk to the person next door to you on the plane.
It's inspired me because I do walk on planes and I sort of think to myself, AirPods in, go, oh God, who's next to me, looking at me like they're ready for a conversation. And I could miss out on lots of these opportunities. So I'll be mindful to speak to who I'm next to on the aeroplane next time.
It's also very rare you get to sit, because we're all across aisles too, so it's kind of a little bit awkward. I'm talking across Tom, who was sitting on next to you. And
about smelly balls.
About smelly balls. And the funny thing was the air hostess was the one that was actually explaining smelly balls to Jason. So
no.
because she had some hanging up in her car.
You better explain what smelly balls are.
Yeah.
The plug.
Yeah. I'm sure there's plenty of listeners. If you're listening to it while you're driving, you've probably got them hanging from your vision mirror. So they're a reusable air refreshener. So yeah, that's what smelly balls are.
But this bloke turned up on a plane with a T-shirt that had smelly balls written on. And I said, no question, you had to ask what are smelly balls.
The inquisitive mind. I love it.
And then obviously, we got chatting about what Jason does, and then funny enough, I knew about his business because some of the people I used to deal with in my old business had your software. Barbecue Galore was one of them. And yeah, so we got chatting. So, mate, today's all about just unpacking your journey, but also like with a focus on leadership and the stuff that you've taken through your life to put you on the path you're on now. And I'm really keen to kick off with sport, because sport's a big part of your life.
Used to be. Yeah. I still love it though, fitness helps.
Yeah. And I feel like there's a lot of foundations you get and a lot of leadership skills you get from sport. So I'd love to hear, because, I was listening to, some of the podcasts you've been on, and you've made it to some pretty high heights on in sport.
Massive accolades.
Weird sports, some of them. So they're not the most.
So where did it start
ones.
for you? Where did the sport start for you anyway?
I did surf lifesaving in Victoria, which isn't an obvious spot to do surf lifesaving at all. But we were just good grommets. We surfed Bells and Winky and just grew up at the local surf beaches down the coast. And then we just started competing in all the different sports, and we ended up racing IRBs, which for a lot of people don't even know what IRBs are, but they're quite big up here on the coast. There's the boats that they race, and I started the journey of my boat racing when I was a kid, sort of 14, 15.
Yeah.
And
amazing.
Well, then the journey, like tiny little club, we won the Australian Championship against all the big Queensland clubs. They loved to hate us and hated to love us. But it was super fun. Motorsport mixed with a lot of physicality. And then that sort of got me tickets overseas and international powerboat racing. I won a couple of, I think I won 4 or 5 British titles and some world titles and things like that.
Yeah.
But they're crazy boats.
I don't know how you've had all this time to cram all these accolades in. You're quite young.
Yeah,
You've done a lot.
Maybe I look young. But I'm 47 this year, so I'm a bit older.
That's young.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, it's a long way to go.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What were some of the leadership qualities you feel in sport that were really important to you? Because obviously starting off as, just doing a sport for a hobby, going to the levels that you went to, what were some of the leadership qualities that you found with?
It's a good question. So when you think about anyone who's successful in sport, there's a team of people behind them, and you might get the accolades, but whether that's your parents, whether that's your coach, whether that's the sister who doesn't fight with you the night before, it's that team which is the most important person. And that's whether that's from helping you with nutrition, helping you with your planning, helping you with your goal settings and all of those things. But I was very fortunate. Every single sport I've ever played, I always put a world-class team around me. And that was probably the most important part of that puzzle. And then when you're dealing with like powerboat racing in that, it's kind of a complicated sport because you got to be fit, but then at the same time, you're on a road that constantly moves. Going against wind that can constantly kill you and blow you upside down. You go 150 mile an hour on water. You don't have brakes, and you don't have car tires that can turn you. You got a tiny little prop, so it's an incredibly dangerous sport.
Yeah,
so
sounds like fun.
Yeah, well, it is super fun.
Yeah.
But it can be a bit wild.
Yeah.
So you've got to have a huge amount of trust in your equipment
Mm-hmm.
and the systems that you put in place
Mm.
to go into a corner, looking at a guy who can kill you next to you as you turn it. So, you know, that the trust in your team, building the best team, and then trust in the systems. And I suppose it's similar to business, right? So the 3 words I always think of is, you know, go to the right strategy to start with. So strategy is the most important thing. Then structure, how have you structured it up with your systems and everything else? And then the most important thing is always about your people. So I drive people mad at my work, and when I talk about strategy, structure, and people, I say it every day.
You made an amazing statement on one of the podcasts you're on, people work for people and not companies. And that just resonates so much with me. Can you talk a little bit to that and why that's so important to you?
Well, no one wants to be a number, do they? And the reality is we spend more time at work than we should, but we spend more time at work than probably with our loved ones.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, you get up at work at, you know, you're telling me, Dan, you get up at 3 a.m. to go to the gym. But most people probably get up at 5:30 or 6 a.m., do a bit of exercise, drop their kids at school, work for the chunk of their day, come home, have dinner and see their family for, you know, probably 10% of the every single day. Sure. But we work for probably a quarter of that lifespan. So if you're working with people that you don't like, people that you don't believe in, people who don't treat you well, geez, it's a lonely, miserable life, isn't it?
You're so right. Yeah,
and then doing something that you love on top of it. Not everybody always loves the job or the task, but they can love the vision and the purpose. And I think that that's a really important thing, because then they're a really important piece of the puzzle of a bigger thing that they can have a sense of belonging to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I find that in some of the things that I do now, it's one of the largest gaps I'm finding is that I'm speaking with directors that are struggling with some of their staff, and I find that the gap is that they've never really sold them on that exact point. They don't really know who the person is outside of the tasks and the job that they've signed on to do. But then I speak to the staff member one-on-one and they're unsure of the vision and the why and the belief system behind it. Do you find that?
I think it's one of the hardest things to do in business.
Yeah.
So it's not easy. Otherwise, everyone would do it. Like, you just think of one of the best companies in the world, and I'll say them, and think of the person. Yeah. So, you know, think of Grok or Tesla. You think of Elon. Yeah. You think of Apple. Yeah. You think of Jobs. Yeah. But you think of Apple now and they're visionless. Yeah. Because they've lost the jobs behind Apple. You know, you think they've completely missed the biggest generational shift in human history, and they haven't even got their own AI within the iPhone that works anywhere near where it should. Like, Siri sucks, let's face it. I don't know what it is.
And she listens too much. She's like,
and she's hopeless.
I'm like, stop, wasn't even talking to you.
Yeah. Whereas if you look, you know, and they've had to do a deal with Gemini to get their AI product into their phone because they've missed the biggest generational shift. That would not have happened
with Jobs.
With Jobs. Yeah. You know, and Zuckerberg hasn't taken a day off in a year, or probably 2 years, because he said, I can't miss the biggest generational shift in human history. Now, these blokes from the outside in aren't short of a penny. They're not doing it for money. They're doing it for purpose, and they're doing it for vision.
Yeah.
And change,
Very, very true. I want to just shift to your corporate career, because, you know, something that I'm super passionate about is helping people in corporate be more successful, or if they're in corporate and they want to shift out and do something similar to what I've done and what you've done, where you've started your own business and gone on. What was your corporate journey like? I'm keen to hear, like, obviously you had a lot of learnings come out of it. It was finance and that's in that space. So how was that transition from you going through corporate learning and then be able to start your own business?
It's interesting. It's similar to most people in their lives. Yeah. You follow in your father's or your brother's footsteps.
Yeah, true.
And my father was an accountant, and my brother was an accountant, so I became an accountant, right?
Yeah, Did you enjoy being an accountant?
Nah, I hated it. But, you know, it gives you good grounding, right, back then. And, you know, the accounting world's going to shift. The curriculum's going to shift from the doing of the accounting into the thought process and then the knowledge about what it gives you. And that'll happen with AI because it'll be it's basically automated now.
Yep.
But, you know, I think values come from your family. Your values come from those everyday moments, and those values come from my family. and to give yourself a good grounding, the ethics of working hard, even if you don't like it that much, but stick it out.
Yeah.
Get the accolade, get that little bit of paper, and then set yourself up in a really good organization that could at least give you a base. When I went to KPMG and I was fortunate enough to get that job.
Yeah, great.
And did you have a team lead? Did you lead a team at corporate, or were you in a leadership role there?
But for sure by the end I was.
It's funny that I speak to a lot of leaders that are still in corporate, and just the bringing people through from a talent point of view is something that's so inconsistent. What I find is inconsistent across the corporate world. So
what do you mean by bringing people through?
So when you've got aspiring leaders that are coming up through the corporate world, the amount of you'd hear the word blockers that are sitting in roles that don't want to develop their team below. There might be not having performance development plans in place that again help the future leaders come through the corporate ranks, and you don't find as much of that in the startup world or businesses that have been founded and still led by the founder. So it's an interesting shift going from that corporate space across into having your own company.
It's self-care. It's like self-care Sunday, isn't it? That's because I think founders care more.
Yeah.
Because they have to. Whereas if you're in a big corporate, they're too big to fail.
Yeah.
So they know that.
Yeah.
They go on annual leave and they take the leave.
Yeah.
The founder goes on leave, or he never goes on leave. It doesn't happen.
Exactly.
They're always on 24/7. So
very true.
It's self-care. It's self-care founder. I don't know. We come up with an acronym for it.
Yeah. We can. There we go.
What was that moment for you where you went, you know what, this corporate world for me, it's not for me, and I want to start my own thing?
Yeah, I actually, because I'm early, a bit early today because I've got the Melbourne Queensland time right now.
So punctual, I love it.
If you're not early, you're late.
Yeah, my favourite.
But I used to get into work really early and get my job done and get out, out of there. But there was always a partner that was in there at the same time, and it was right when realestate.com launched. And I remember going in and saying, he's going, listen, this company's going to be worth so much money one day. I've just bought into it, and you can find and buy a house and see everything in one spot, and you don't have to drive around on the weekends. Yeah. And I thought this is the future of houses, right? And then I thought, then we're in the biggest generational shift I'll ever see in my life. Yeah. And I've got to go and do that. And then, I took a while to get there, but that was the moment that clicked for me. Yeah. So accounting's bad, right? Because you always work in the past.
Yeah.
You're never really working in the future.
Yeah. Very true.
And it's a hard spot to be.
So did you just think, I need to be a part of this, but I'm not quite sure how, in what capacity? And then that's when you founded BikeExchange?
Yeah, actually, my best friend and I, Sam, we grew up together. Yeah. And his family from generational cyclists and owned a cycling shop.
Amazing.
And then his mum worked for Kerry Packer.
Okay.
In a classified business. So, and then another guy called Ash, but they like Just 4x4 magazine. She ran that for years. And those old trader magazines, I don't know if you remember them.
Oh my gosh.
They ran that. But so the concept of buying and selling and connecting and consolidating industries, we're not the first, we won't be the last. Yeah. So we really started a classified magazine. The bike stores, a classified website, the bike stores couldn't really do it themselves. They couldn't get online, and we were the ones that sort of got them online and sold them a lot of bikes and made it easy for people to find and buy them. As
a someone that's made that transition from corporate to do my own thing, I resonate a lot with that. But I also know that there's a lot that goes like leaving corporate from both a security point of view. It's a safe world to live in. When that paycheck comes in on the 15th every month, and you know it's coming, to the day that you leave, and you've got to back yourself.
Pre-kids, post-kids.
Yeah. Well, mine was pre. Most
are.
Yeah. And you can see why a lot of people, that want to make the change don't when they've got a mortgage and kids. I get it. But that to me was a scary moment. I didn't pay myself for 3 years with my first company. It was crazy.
Didn't you?
Lived off savings and all that sort of stuff. But a lot of people don't want to take that risk. What do you say to people that might be in corporate, right, that want to start a business, and it's that uncertainty of like, when should I have a crack?
Are you resilient is my first question.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Are you humble?
Yep.
And are you okay in complete uncertainty? And if you're not those three things, don't do it.
Yeah, for sure.
So true.
Take your 4 weeks off.
Absolutely. Yeah. One of the other things I always try to advise is that, like, for me, my journey started when I'd got into the office early, similar to yourself. I'd get home, I'd work on this side hustle, and seeing if I like it, seeing if I'm putting in the hours, and I'd just rinse and repeat. I did that for, years before I made the full leap out. And it's that work ethic side of it as well, right? We got to really, knuckle down and see what's actually what you want to do. Because that lifestyle didn't change for me for 10 years, literally.
Yeah, but being a founder's hard as well, because you've got to have the accounting background because you're going to balance your books. You've got to be good at sales and good at people because you've got to be able to lead them. You've got to understand product, whether it doesn't matter what company you're in, the product, besides the customer, the product's the most important thing because people buy products, whether that's a service or a thing. People buy that thing and it's got to really work. And then, you got to understand how to run a support business. You got to understand all the machinations of it. So be well researched and build a great team around you. But it's also not for everyone, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Like that's fine.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. And what about in what you do and as a person, as a CEO, as a founder, what would you say are 3 things that you're really good at?
Yeah. I've become a much better listener as I've got maybe a little bit more wiser in that. So you don't have to lead every conversation and you've got to give people the space to thrive, not just survive into that space. I'm a really good researcher. So I research a lot. I'm knowledgeable about what I do. So when I walk into a room in the products in the industries that I'm in, I'm knowledgeable in that space. So I've got authority and then presence because you have authority because of that. And then the last and probably the most important thing is I love what I do. So I know it's cheesy. I know but I think it's the most important thing. If you don't love what you do, you can't be great at it. You can be good at it, but if you don't wake up at 4 o'clock, get excited, write a note,
itching to
go back to sleep, and I've got another little note to write it down. You might be good, but you may not be great. And I'm not saying I'm great. I'm just saying everyone's striving to be great.
And also with being such a high performing individual and having so much success and accolades and a beautiful young family.
I've had a lot of failures though.
Of course that happens. But having a young, beautiful family as well, what are some of the shifts and habits within yourself that are just absolute non-negotiables?
So for me, I'm a nightmare if I don't do physical activity every single day. Like I'm just can't handle it. I'm just not built that way. So I have to do something for me every day. And I know, in a compromise of looking after everybody else, if you don't look after yourself and what makes you happy both mentally and physically, and then you don't sleep, it's a disaster in that space. So that's probably the most important thing. Maybe it's a life-saving background. They always say, it's rescuing someone, you've got to look after yourself first.
True.
The second is the ranking on priorities, right? Like, so instead of, when I probably first started a business, you'd be invited to a dinner here, a podcast here, or this there, and I'm ruthless with my time. So to rank above my family, it's got to be someone you like instantly. It's got to be something you want to do in that space, or it's got to be worth the sweat within it. So time, ruthlessness is, I think, a really important thing behind it. And then the third is being present in the moment. So when I'm home with and it's not every minute of every day, right? But when you're with the kids, listen to the kids and spend time with the kids. And, I look as a father to a son and a daughter, you've got to teach him how to surf. He's got to learn how to ski. He's got to be able to kick a footy. He's got to be able to play tennis. He's got to be able to do all those things. And that takes time and love and passion. And he's got to go pretty good at school. So all of those things together, being present, being ruthless with your time, and self-care.
And they are what they see as well, what they witness in their parents.
If you, I promise you, you've got kids.
I don't have children.
If you're ever fortunate enough, lucky enough to, as soon as you say a swear word, these kids are walking down the street saying a swear word.
So there's a couple of questions I've got, and I'll start off with this one because it's fresh. Swear words, right? So my son's Jet. He's 3. Goes to daycare 5 days a week. Loves it, and we got the teacher pulled us aside when we went there last week and told us he had been saying some swear words to the boys out in the yard.
F-bomb.
And, so, Marky, my wife and I, we're kind of saying, like, who was it? But then you got to start being a bit more aware of how many times you swear. And we swear a lot in the household, which we don't, it's unintentional.
Just
that we
do as you're told and it won't happen.
And anyway, so we've got this thing now.
It's fucking hard.
It is. It literally is. Because I'll be on a phone call with someone, Jet's in the back, picking up from daycare. I'll drop the F-bomb and he'll be like, Dad, that's a naughty word. I'm going to throw pepper in your mouth. That's his thing, right? So then I'll get act like I'm choking. I've got pepper in my mouth, but it's such a they're just sponges. And I mentioned to Aaron, like this one time I was out the back kicking the footy with him because I got about to kick footy, and then I got an email on my phone, ting, and I pull it out, and he pinned me on it. He said, "Dad, put your phone away." And also that was the first time I was like, "You're so right." So when I get home now, the phone goes in the kitchen, and it's father and son time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the kids get a bit older, and you start telling the kids off, "Hey, you're not allowed the phone at the table," and what you realise you've got your phone next to you on the table.
True.
So it's that being present thing. It's not an easy thing to do with anyone, right? Like in any situation. Yeah. But it's something I definitely try and prioritise. Yeah. Maybe sport teaches that as well, because if not in the moment,
well, absolutely. I just want to circle back to the 3 things that you mentioned. Was there something in your life that made you value those things more now?
Well, like, if I think of being present, if I wasn't, like my background, I think in sport, you've got to, you're dead. So if you're not in that moment, if you haven't got 100% concentration, I think that's sort of the background behind that. When you think of, the second one, and like if you really think back through a human tragedy, if you've ever had a human tragedy in your life,
absolutely have.
You can't take time back. I had a friend yesterday, a really good friend, a very famous Australian businessman, but he had this confidant who died 6 weeks ago and got cancer 6 weeks ago, and he's 52 and fit as hell. I won't say his name. Sure. No one he wouldn't want it to be said. But he died 6 weeks later. But he'll never get that time back now, right? So if you're not living in the moment and you're not present and you're not ruthless with your time and you just waste your time, it's a disaster. And I've had my own tragedies. Everyone's got a tragedy. Ned Kelly's tattoos for a reason, such is life. As we get older, we're going to, I think your first half of your life, I don't know whether you've had tragedies yet, but your first half of your life, you're invincible, aren't you? Unless you're very unlucky. The second half of your life feels like every second year you've got trauma or tragedy to deal with. So, I think that ruthlessness around time really is shaped from me around, some personal tragedies I had.
No, the reason I asked that question is, for me, it was tragedy, and it makes you reevaluate where you're at. My last business, got wound up because my business partner passed away. Just unexpectedly from a heart attack. And then the estate wants to, call in his loan and all that sort of stuff. And when you throw all your energy and effort at something and your identity is tied up in it, when that goes away, I was like, well, what do I do now? And one thing I realized was I let my health go, wasn't spending as much time with my family. And, it's, for me, I'm the same. Me first and foremost, make sure I'm the best version. And then it's family, friends, and fun is the first thing that goes in my calendar. And then anything outside that I want to do that I enjoy goes in the calendar after it. Because just wasted way too much time unconsciously spending time in things I don't enjoy.
Yeah, I still work 12 hours a day though, which is probably not that healthy either. But I think that the outside stuff, I've been really ruthless on the weekends.
So when you talk about building a successful team around you, because that drives your success, what are some of the attributes in those people that you look for?
Values first, 100%. So, an alignment on values, not just with the company. You walk into some companies and they've got be bold, be wonderful on the wall. And I get it, because sometimes companies need to remind.
Yeah, but half the team don't even know what's on the wall.
No, that's right. But but whether someone like, your values are your heart and your personality is in your head, isn't it? Like you think of the heart and the head. So if you've got integrity, you can't ever break that. If you value integrity. But if I said to you, like, you're funny, that's someone describing you, that's your personality. So when I think of values, you can't shake your values. And I can guarantee you that nearly every single person, our values are aligned at Marketplace today and all the companies that we work for. So, and you can put them on a wall, but what you see is, it's probably the best thing I get told about our companies is, we love your team. You've got the greatest people and they love what they do. And those 3 things together are really important. But that comes with hard work. That comes with going above and beyond. It's not easy working for us. We're ruthless with our time. We work incredibly hard and we're lean in everything that we do. But we're all, and I suppose the other thing is we're always doing something pretty big, right? You know, we're not opening up the local sandwich store.
Yeah.
You know, with Marketplace, so we're changing the way people shop globally.
Yeah.
So that was a different thing that you wanted to be part of in that space, and we've changed a lot of people's lives and businesses because of it.
Yeah. And you've said also on previous podcasts, when you reach an accolade like the best in the world and the best this, and then you have this taste for that, at what point do you feel, if you have felt up until now, that you really got to that point? Like, will you ever reach that point, do you think?
Do you know, it's like with a business, you got to have a good idea. Like, and I think there's three things. So you've got to have a really good idea that can scale and solve a big problem, right? Or a problem that needs solving. The second thing is you got to execute. And it's just that ruthless execution behind it. And then the third thing, you got to have timing and luck. You got to be in the right place at the right time, and you got to make the right decisions to hold them or to fold them at the right time. And very few people get all three perfectly right and make all three decisions aligned in life. And you see these assholes that do all the time, and you go, you're either much smarter than me or you've had a lot more luck.
But it's only a matter of time.
It's only a matter of time. You got to be in it to win it.
Yeah, of course.
I'm keen to say, like, because obviously you've got a business that's got a great culture. How do you balance the holding people highly accountable for the vision of the company where you're going with the balance of still maintaining a really good culture? Because I'm a big believer that without accountability, culture really can't exist. But it's a fine line as a leader to be holding people accountable and still having that culture that sits behind it.
It is, but it's also about setting the expectations and setting the structure. So they've got a very clear plan, and it depends on the department, doesn't it? So you obviously got the sales culture is completely different to a product and engineering team's culture. So it's like chalk and cheese. If most product and engineering people are somewhere on the spectrum in that way, and they're just built differently. So if you use the same tactic for a sales team as you use for a product and engineering team, you'll just blow them up straight away, right? So what I've found works with the product and engineering team is a lot of planning and a lot of structure, but then autonomy to complete and solve their own problems. And if you give them that task and give them definitive timelines and the problems and the outcomes they need to achieve, chances are they're much smarter than me or anyone else that's solving those problems, because they wake up in the morning and that's all they think about solving. So autonomy, but with guardrails, has worked for me for a really long time in the product and engineering space. And then salespeople are completely different. Like
different kettle of fish.
Slap and a whack. Like, slap and a bum or whack every day. Right?
I mean, look, I used to be part of a very high performing sales team, and we were right next to accounts. And it just did not work. If they came out and they're like, oh, sales out to lunch again, I'm like, we're at budget for the next 6 months. Just go and chase the invoices.
XYZ hasn't paid their bill. Can you go chase that for me?
And we just don't. We shouldn't have never been close to each other on a floor, because we are two different breeds. And the bean counters, we cannot live without them, but the salespeople drive your paycheck. And so there was always a clash between those departments, because we were all one big open plan floor. And if I had it my way, I would put sales on the 8th floor.
I've never known a sales team to be motivated by fear. Like if I said to you, if you don't hit your sales number this month, I'm going to fire you.
So,
Like it's kind of like I'm starting with the grey cloud over my head. I've got a fog in front of my eyes. But if I said to you, if we hit our sales number this month, we're going to go out and get pissed at the pub on a Friday night.
We'll take the chopper.
Boom, away we go. Right? You can see your eyes light up and go, I actually want to go to the pub. So I think there's different tactics for managing the right people in the right way, but I've always found positive reinforcement, getting into the trench, not sitting up there and blaming, and actually being part of the solution's been much better than actually sitting in your ivory tower and saying why haven't you hit your number.
For sure. Is your team quite lean now? Like you mentioned before, you're a small team but heavy hitters. So what is your team structure? Because you're global now. So what's that team structure look like for you? I
think we're about 75 to 80 at the moment. But really lean for the size company that we are. And we've got the best of the best. So over time, I've figured a lot of sales teams have coverage. You ever heard of coverage? Like, so if you've got to hit a number and you employ 2 people to hit that number, and chances are both are going to miss their number, but they'll get 50% each and they'll get there. So that's called coverage in sales, right? Like, so it's a well-known thing. Whereas I've found in what we do, we're selling to some of the world's largest companies, and we're a strategy sale. So yes, we do a simple thing. What Marketplace does, it makes the biggest brands and retailers able to turn into markets and sell things that they don't own, so they don't have to put it in their warehouse. They don't have to store it or ship it themselves. So think of turning every little business or every business in the world into a mini Amazon. So to do that, it's not just about, they're not buying tech, are they? They're buying a strategy. So our salespeople are strategists as much as they are tech salespeople. And to do that, you've got to have the best of the best.
Find the golden nugget, sell the solution.
That's right.
And how do you recruit those people? Because obviously you're well known in the industry. So is it on the back of your relationships and what they think of you, or was it your next team down now it's their job to do that as well? Like how do you recruit the best talent?
I think all of our salespeople is network.
Yeah,
I don't think we've ever employed one that we haven't known.
Yeah.
So I always, and this is not just salespeople. This is every people. So part of my role as a founder is to take people out for breakfast, to coffees, to lunches, not because I need to employ them today, but for when it's the time and it's ready.
Yeah.
So that network effect behind any leader or entrepreneur is a really important piece of the puzzle. When you go to conferences, don't go to bed by yourself early. Hang out and see the best salespeople from the other companies. So you're not just there for the purpose you're there for, but you're trying to plan ahead and to get into those industries for sure.
And when you do reach out, what is that response like? So
it's time.
Are we going to do the dance now?
No, good.
But for someone like yourself that can spot opportunity, and like you're a founder, you're a creative in that sense of business, you'd be able to spot talent
by a mile away.
But and you go out to, I mean, when I'm helping directors hire high level positions, I'd take them out, because one of the biggest things for me is how they treat wait staff. It says a lot about a person.
Very true.
If you don't value that person's job, no matter how big or small, there's something in you that is not going to align with me.
Yeah. I actually cracked the shits at work the other day because I was the only person that turned up to the support meeting. So, like in the tech company, you have support tickets.
Yep.
So, and we use Zendesk for a support platform. So it tracks the tickets. But I ruthlessly read and track every ticket, because that's the voice of the customer and the product, right?
Couldn't agree more.
So in a tech company, we get, on a global basis, I think last month we had 151 tickets, which if you look at all of our clients, all of our users.
I feel like that's quite low.
Yeah.
That's unbelievably low. That's 3 tickets a day, 4 tickets a day kind of stuff, right? But that's come down from 700 tickets. So, but I cracked the shits because I was the only exec on the call.
Yeah,
and it wasn't their fault; they had other things. But it
should be a priority.
Well, they're the front line of our business. Every time customers got a problem, they talk to our support team. So if you don't care about support, nobody else cares about support. And no one likes hearing, we had the conversation just before we went on, is that sometimes having a curly customer conversation is more difficult, and you got to sit there and cop it and then understand it, listen to it, empathize with it, and then try and solve it. But if you don't front up, it just bubbles away and blows up, has been my experience.
Absolutely. I've got a client at the moment, and in that exact sense, I've created a lot of their procedures.
Don't say their name.
No, lovely, like really, really great directors, but I've created a lot of their procedures, and on those procedures, there's courtesy calls to guests, short-term letting company. And I keep hammering the office staff. I'm like, when you make these calls, I need you to make notes on who you've called. And they kept saying, yeah, we're doing them. And I said, have you done them? So they weren't. Anyway, one of the young girls made this courtesy call, and I said, I want them 2 days prior to checking in so that we can make their stay better. And I want it the day prior to checking out. Anyway, she copped it on this phone call, and she hung up the phone. I said, hey, you handled that really well. She goes, oh, but that's why I don't like doing them. And I said, but now you've taken all the wind out of their sails before the written review. That will affect the company. And that is why I've asked you to do it. But when they originally got asked to do them, they weren't educated on why we want you to do that. And so they were just like, well, courtesy call, like for what they're leaving. And I'm like, now that you've done that, you send them a link and they're like, oh, but they listened, they handled it. We've won them.
Yeah, and it's like when someone calls up hot, never take it, listen to it, get back to them the next day.
Yeah,
for sure.
You're never taking them in the moment.
absolutely.
Right? But there's those techniques that a lot of companies don't employ that make a big difference. Now, you're not trying to mislead the customer in any way. You're actually trying to resolve their experience, but you've got to do it at the right time. It's definitely difficult to do it in the heat of the battle.
Yeah. And I think it's also, you can fall into that robotic element of going, sorry, I'll deal with that. And I've coached these managers on those calls as well. And I'm saying, I instantly know you don't give a shit. And it's like when you call a telemarketing company and it's like, I'm really sorry for the inconvenience. I'm like, you're not. You're reading a script, and you can really make small pivots to make someone go, wow, that is shit. I'm sorry about that. And it's like, oh, thanks. You're on my side.
Well, the NAB called me today on the way here, actually. And I'm fortunate enough, I've got a private banker at the NAB, so he looks after everything. Yeah. But then the call center called me, and it's not their fault, right? But they called me and said, "Is this Jason Wyatt?" And I said, "I'm not telling you that."
Who's asking?
Like, who's asking? It's the NAB. Can you tell me your last name and your date of birth to verify who you are? And I go, I'm actually, my security policy says I'm not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
Like, so I can't do it. Call Damien, this guy who's my banker, and he'll be able to get in contact with me. He says, I can't do that. I said, well, we got a big problem. I'm not going to tell you, mate. So the problem is sometimes bigger companies can't even talk amongst themselves, or their procedure doesn't allow. Like, I always talk about the science and then the craft. Like, and in customer, you've got to have a procedure, but your team needs to have craft. They need to actually have that sort of, that skill set where they can massage and curve and not be locked in a box to actually listen and solve.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
If I was to talk to your leadership team, what would they say about you as a CEO?
Mad as a cut snake.
My kind of guy.
Yeah. No, that I think that's how I'm a good person, and I'm very trustworthy and I'm very honest. So I've got those values base, and I'd say I'm very visionary. And that I always have a great team underneath me who are really good executors in what they do.
Amazing.
And then I would think that they would say I have a lot of fun.
Great.
In that space.
So good.
Maybe.
Back to that, such is life.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I don't know what such is life meant. What do you think he meant by that such is life tattoo? Remember Ben Cousins? He tattooed it on himself. What do you think such is life meant? Like, fuck it, I don't care. I'm going to get shot by 100 policemen.
I think it's like life is life.
That's right.
Yeah, I think that's what it means.
Not his pie.
No.
Pie.
That's right.
So, marketplace. What's the roadmap ahead? If you can share, like, what do you, from a visionary point of view? Now, that's your thing.
Yeah.
Where are you taking it?
It's probably, well, it's not probably, it is the most exciting time to be in a technology business ever. Like, I'm struggling sleeping at the moment because I'm researching and doing so much. So ultimately, in what we're doing, we're really automating supply. So the problem Marketplacer is solving is to create marketplaces that run themselves. And we've launched more autonomous supply features in the last 3 months than we have in the last 3 years.
Yeah, wow.
So you imagine being able to create a business, log in to something, whatever that something is, and just select what you wanted to sell without contracting, without doing anything, and you had complete autonomous supply from all over the world. That's what Marketplace is producing.
So good. And you've got obviously the high end of town, your customers.
Yeah.
Where does the entry point start for your business? Is the idea that is it only sort of small to medium, sort, like, where's the kind of that entry point for your company?
Yeah, it's got to be worth the sweat for both.
Yeah.
Like, so I think if you're a tiny little drop shipper and you just go sell on Amazon. So you've got to have a right to play, and that right to play in our space is typically two things. You got to have a large customer base or the ability to create a really large customer base.
Sure.
So we just signed One Football, which is the world's largest soccer football site out of Europe.
Great.
They've got a right to play to sell jerseys to their fans at scale. But do they want to own and ship and manufacture their own football jerseys for all the clubs? They don't. No. They just want to link it all up, right? So that's a right to win in that space. We just signed Gratify, actually, who they sort of power like the RSCV RSEQ, the Coles employee store, the Bunnings employee store. They've got 21 million consumers in Australia.
Wow.
They've got a right to sell them more products in an autonomous fashion. So large audience that can scale through. So that types of bucket. So where does it stop? That if you probably don't have that right to play yet. And I'd say then go and create the best product you can create and then go find a way to sell it because people buy products.
For sure. Absolutely. I didn't ask the question, but it's software and it's tech. Your background doesn't seem to have had that tech in it. Who was how did you create such an amazing business?
I created the tech I ran the tech team the whole time.
The whole time. Yeah. So how did you find yourself?
There's a good story behind the tech actually.
Yeah. Well, I'm sitting here and I'm like,
that's what we're here
literally
for.
talking to you about a business that's arguably one of the best in its space, right?
Yeah.
And it's tech based, and I haven't spoken anything about your skill set in tech.
It's funny because when we first started BikeExchange, we had really good advice from day one. So I always say, get a mentor.
Yep.
Get someone who's grey, who's been there and done it before you and has got battle scars amongst it. And we had Peter Bartels, which is one of Australia's best businessmen, the best business person. So he was the CEO of Coles Myer, the CEO of Foster's.
Yep.
If you've ever been to England, you know, remember the beer? You know, when you go into a pub and now you see a beer token, he's the first person who invented.
Really?
Because that's how Foster's won in London.
Yeah.
They sponsored the Grand Prix and then the old English beer taps never had the symbol. So people walked in and said, just give me a Foster's because it's the only one with a brand on it.
There's still English pubs I see today and I'm like, oh my God, Foster's.
Yeah. So he was our mentor and like he said the structure thing. So from day one, we split the IP company and we split the trading company. So always has to protect yourself in whether it's a tiny little startup, make sure you've got your right company structure from day one. So Marketplacer was always there bubbling away as a tech company, right? So first thing I'd say in that space is definitely do that. But then when we first started, Sam and I had no idea about tech. What we knew is we needed to rank number one in Google for BikeExchange.
Yeah.
So we had $26,000 in our bank account, and which in 2006 wasn't a lot of money. In 2026 is not a lot of money, right? To start a business.
It's a handbag now.
That's right. It's scary. You like my wife. But we had to build a sales team. So we had to do that ourselves. We had to build customers. We had to do all of those things. But we met this guy and we interviewed everybody and he said, hey, boys, we're not going to build you a business. We're not going to build you a tech website. We're going to build you a business. So we gave him the 22 grand out of 26. And then we walked into the business. We walked in ready for BikeExchange to be unveiled for us. And we turned up all excited. And you can imagine I'm pretty anal, right? Like, so I've got every spec sheet in the world. Like I've documented everything, the whole site.
And high expectations on what you're about to see, right?
Yeah, but I mean, this was down to what each field was named. Like it was, and it's still like if you looked at BikeExchange when it was good, it was still exactly the same structure as it was back then. And he turned up and this thing was a disaster.
Really?
So we'd done our dough, 22 grand. We had absolutely nothing to show for it. And he looked at us with the same smile and he said, well, it's right. It's not what we want. But if you give me a third of the business, I'll fix it. But I'll help you run it. So what would you do?
Well, it's like
depends on what you saw in the person, in my mind.
Would it?
Yeah.
Yeah. What would you do?
Well,
it depends on the person.
Depends on the person. But you having spoken about the talent that you can spot from a mile away, I'm guessing that you said yes.
We had no choice. We were cooked.
We had no money.
No money. So we said yes. And what we did get out of that, we learnt lots of positive things and lots of negative things out of that. But we did get the chance to leverage his broader team and develop a core platform. And that's his number one developer, Dave Goddard, still works for me today, 20 years later.
Wow, that's amazing.
So he's built half the code of Marketplace. Maybe half now. A lot of it. So that journey was an interesting journey in the space. And he was one of the original founders of realestate.com in the day. And
you got to a point where you bought him out? Or is it?
Yeah, someone tried to buy, a really famous Australian classified business tried to buy us.
Yeah.
And it's another story.
I told you an hour wasn't long enough.
Yeah. And they, and there's only 3 big classified businesses in the country. So one of the big 3 tried to buy us. But then all said, it's actually told all the team, all announced it. And then they halved the price the day that we were going to go through with it. And then he said, well, I'll take your money. I'm out of there. So we went to mum and dad, went to my brother. We borrowed the money and bought him out and took our company back.
Great.
Good on you.
Good on you.
So that's how we kept Marketplace and BikeExchange together.
Yeah. Wow.
What a story. How good is that?
And so, I mean, obviously you said you learned a lot of negatives in that process, and with success does come failure. Is there anything that you kind of reflect on within your professional career that you really wish you did again or you regret?
You really pronounce professional then.
Professional.
Yeah, there is, right? Like, so I think if you, every dollar absolutely matters, and don't waste this, a cent of it. So treat and that goes to your equity, right? Like, so if you're a founder or in business, like the reality is, can you squeeze the lemon out of what you've got even more? Can you work a little bit more? Because every ounce of equity you get to hold on to, that you don't have to take external capital, the chances are you're going to have a better result at the end of the day because of that.
Yeah.
But you're probably going to have a better business at the end of it as well. So if you've seen what's happened to SaaS companies in the last year,
I wouldn't be able to say.
Trillions of dollars have been wiped off SaaS companies.
Okay.
So the way software as a service works is I come to you and say, you want to use Marketplacer? Oh, great. Give me $1 million up front. And then I'm going to charge you a percentage forever.
Yeah.
So it feels like a flawed model, doesn't it? It's sort of like you take all the risk and then I'm going to take a little bit of piece of the puzzle. So think of Salesforce, SAP.
Yep.
Trillions of dollars have been wiped off the floor in the last 12 to 24 months because of that model. The other thing is if you think of how they've been valued that they're going to be like the cash flows are going to generate X amount of profits over the next 20 years. And that's called like the terminal value of the business in that, over a lifetime of it. The chances are no one knows where these businesses are going to be in 20 years at the moment. So they've literally wiped the floor behind it. So when you think of the lessons that I would change in business in that journey, I would change my pricing architecture 100% from day one. I would make sure that my customer, from the second that they took my product or service, shared in the upside with me. So we'd have a much lower barrier to entry. We would take a much larger piece of the puzzle, but everyone would win from day one. So their balance.
Success is your success. Yeah.
So we've even flipped our revenue model. We pivoted a month ago.
Wow.
It was fascinating, right? So we had the old SaaS model, long deal cycles, very difficult. Whereas now anybody who uses Marketplace and makes money out of Marketplace at day one, we take a larger cut. In our payments, they can make money out of the payments business. In our AI, as we roll AI products out, they can make money out of our AI products. So Marketplace and now, instead of being a cost center and talking to the CTO, gets to talk to the CEO about being a revenue engine.
So good.
It's a totally different mode. I would say, how do you, instead of being in the cost center side of the business, how do you become a revenue engine? Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
And it's amazing. It's great.
Yeah. And as we wrap up today, is there a book or a quote that resonated with you throughout your journey that still sticks with you today that you've read?
Probably not a book, but it's a podcast that I think is pretty good out there at the moment that'll keep you abreast. And it's that All In podcast. I don't know whether you listen to it, but I do like it. It's pretty Republican. It's pretty biased, but at the same time, if you want to know what's happening in the world at the moment, be abreast of technology, you're going to know enough to be dangerous.
Does that make sense? Yeah, 100%. It's actually on my weekly rotation, and it blows my mind. Like, obviously, it's 4 billionaires essentially that are discussing all types of topics, but they tend to get caught up in a lot of global stuff and a lot of politics. But just their knowledge and in-depth knowledge, and you listen to one person and you go, oh, that makes a lot of sense, and then the other one challenges him, and go, oh, that makes more sense, and then the other one challenges him, and it's just really educated, 100%.
Yeah,
but absolutely, well, that's a good one.
And from my side, moving from Melbourne to the Gold Coast, being a Gold Coast-based podcast, what are you excited about being here and seeing the talent and the entrepreneurship, founders on the Gold Coast, business on the Gold Coast? What are you really excited about?
That's why I come today.
Yeah.
Look, my big thing in life, if you're going to be in a community, be present. Yeah. So, part of me coming on to the podcast today was to be present in the local community. Yeah. Because if you think of the Gold Coast and the opportunity that it's got, it hasn't got the grey cloud that other cities have in them at the moment. It's got this positive attitude, the willingness to help. The one thing I've absolutely noticed and loved since coming here, I go to that Bermuda Butchery.
Oh yeah,
in
it's
Berlin.
crack up.
Butcher.
It's
They're
a
the
best butcher,
best.
right? Yeah.
They're good. They're good
They're
guys.
great guys.
Yeah.
But I went in there and said, "What's his vodka like?" We were going to make Bloody Marys, and
Yeah.
I go, "What's his vodka like?" He says, "It's the best. It's from the Gold Coast."
Oh.
What I love about it is they support each other,
Yeah.
because the reality is, for this economy, which is a pretty small economy, to thrive, we've all got to help each other out. And we've all got to buy local, and you've actually got to support it. It might be 20 cents cheaper from Woolies in doing that, but if you can support your local and belong and be part of that community, I think it's a really important thing. So I'll do some cool stuff along the journey. You know, we'll make sure we hook up. We can do some dinners. We help the startups out, help the both companies. Already helping a local startup, Arvo, which is an AI company helping people in security, which is just awesome.
Great.
So yeah, I'll definitely participate and be present.
Yeah, we're so happy to
And
have
I
you.
just want to say a big massive thank you to you, because you could have easily not done anything with that invite.
On
I
us
sent you
should
on the
be
plane,
smelly
right?
balls.
Right.
Damn
But-
smelly balls.
yeah. We should have hit Smelly Balls up to be a sponsor, actually. We
Yeah.
look for sponsors on the podcast.
Yep.
But I want to say thank you, because a guy that's done what you've done and continues what you do, you could have easily just said, "Oh, no, I'm good, thanks anyway." But the impact that people like you have and leaders like you have on the other, like the community and the up and comers, that's huge.
Massive.
Yeah.
And your ability to connect and have a conversation with someone that you met on a plane, and then a week later we're on a podcast, it's just a testament to you. So thanks, mate, for coming
thank you
on.
so much.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for being brave to ask.
Yeah.
Sometimes you've got to be asked, don't you?
Yeah.
And that's part of the journey. So thanks for having me.
Okay. Cheers.
Thank you.